Eight, bet. Now, going to an Indian that I learned once before. There's a little twist in it, the way that I see it now. This is the concept, basically overall, of that the panemius of the lower becomes the kitzonius of the upper, making the kitzonius of the upper into a panemius. So that's a basic idea, and there's a little. Just it seems like I can't quite grasp this idea. It's like I'd like to. It says on number kuf kaf base rather. So it says va'atar adivir bechinas adiber kaniska the el b'shem azoyer v'yakel b'parshas b'midbar. Excuse me, this is something slightly different here. So this is the difference between our what is a tikkun and what's aliyas olamos. So that's where we're starting. Va'atar adivir rav seder tikkun v'aliyas olamos on the saknim b'tefillah shakris ayeder adibor b'peh. He says, "Ehin bekodim tefillah shachris before you get to tefillah shachris. Ayedera betikun ma'aser b'shuchu yifner yito yadav talis katan talis gadol v'tefillah shayad v'tefillah sharosh. The saktem balonah b'makomom. There's a tikkun that takes place in their places. There's no movement here. It's a tikkun in those worlds. Ayedera hamasim alalu. The Sakto call Arba Rabalamas Abir B'Makomam Shahim Nimsoim Bo Ata, so wherever they're at, there's no movement here, but they're Masukan. So he says, Nistalko Bechem al Klipos, and then the Klipos leave them, Arba Rabalamas Abir Nistalko Hakali, Shohi Ochuz, excuse me, Ochzim of Yonkim Mehem Belailo. So he says like this, Kadesh Achar Kach, through this, after this, excuse me. Ayedera dibar shall tefillah nuchol la'alhos olam ba'olam, where you can have through tefillah, you're able to elevate the worlds from one to the next for the kosher, the la'alav, la'alosam yachad, and to tie them together, bring them all up. V'atzam shenasa called tikkunim ba'olamos ayedera b'tikkun ma'isa. So why does it have to follow ma'isa? B'hiyos ha'olama b'makom, then this has to take place where they haven't moved yet. So that after tikkun ha'maisa, that through the power of the tefillah that you're saying, you're able to actually elevate them. So the first thing is the effect of tikkun. I'm not sure exactly what he means. Tikkun in other places always means a hismantus of the light, or more solidification of it. Call olam al olam shalomalach and menasa start rising up l'koshrim yachta ba'olamos elyonos. Now in the next place we're on another piece which is called this, and this the Bechai brachos ad parshas Tamuz. Now it wants to say from the parshas Tamuz, mezakeh hagar desiyah. You're purifying the gar desiyah. Now what exactly is happening here? Let's look into number kuf kaf ches. And it says, Vanaska the Bible Seder Aliyasim. Let's talk about a little bit about the order of their going up. Vahata Mivaya Rav Seder Aliyas Olamos. 1 second. So he says, Olamos al Yedera Bediba Shal Tefillah. Hine al Yedera Shmona Esred Brachos de Shachra. So you have the 18 brachos in the morning, but Birchos al Nantilas Yadayim ad Parshas Tamud. And then we're talking about the space until you reach the Parshas Tamud. Mas mitachilas achai barachos the birchos hashachar, from the beginning of the 18 brachos that takes place at the birchos hashachar, v'ad the miras parshas Tamuz, until that place. Just repeated it. Anu maridim shefa gadol v'ha'ara gadola. We're bringing down tremendous shefa and a tremendous radiance. Ala shlosh rishonos de Rasiya. That's what's happening until the gar of Rasiya is getting a lot of action. Ayedera b'miras high barachos and shah birchos shachar v'ad parshas Tamuz. Ana maridim shefa gadol. We're bringing down a tremendous shefa here. V'ha'ara gadola milamala elahaba the olam asiyah, and we're bringing it from up above onto the top of Asiyah, which is his chabad. Kadesha hachitzonia shalachem yizdake v'yachsoch of the kiyod b'bechina panemius connected the ale. Now apparently he said we mentioned this before. Now I've learned this sugya before, but not here, and it was slightly different, at least the way my understanding was. So the fact that we're bringing the shefa there to the chabad of olam atzilus, that we're going to go all the way up. Who kadesh Kitzonius ha'chabad de olam ha'asiyah. What we're trying to get here is that the chabad de olam ha'asiyah titztakef mechashefach ha'aretz. It's going to become more refined or purified. So then once this happens, you have the ability of the chitzonius ha'chabad de either the kiyod bebechila penimius ha'chabad de olam ha'asiyah. So it has the ability to become to change itself into the chabad of olam ha'asiyah. So you say all these words, it changes the chitzonius, which is the basic, I guess the fundamental stationary idea. It changes it into penimius. Ki b'kol olam yesh shtei bechinos, which of course are yesh shtei bechinos, kitzonius olamos, ha'achas kitzonius olamos, penimius olamos, shuhu haneshama asher behem. So then okay. V'hashniya ki bechina penimius olamos shebe'archin heim nikraim neshamos. So relatively speaking, they're called neshamos. Le'era kitzonius olamos and nikraim guf be'archon. So the kitzonius are going to be something more solid. But the penimios, so now you're saying the brachos, so now let's just look at this. This is the kavanah when you're going to say the chai brachos. Lost Rebbe, I didn't hear him. Here we go. Okay, I kind of missed you. I don't know. I usually I know when the phone goes out. So let's go down to Kuf Lamed Hey. Kuf Lamed Hey says V'al Yedecha be'eloch habrachos the penimius. So you said the 18 brachos in the morning. V'al Yedecha be'miras eloch hachai brachos birchos hashachar shezecha p'yedecha dibor. So this we're saying some b'zot the sak and the penimius. This affects tikkun in the penimius. Mizbarach hachitzonius. So what does it do? It blesses the chitzonius, but b'kabel the ara gedolah, and it allows for a tremendous light to come down there. So by saying those chai brachos, hashachar misachnim hapenimios. So he mizbarach chitzonius. So he says misakin bepenimios. Mizbarach chitzonius olamos, and it becomes a bracha for the chitzonius olamos. Then bekabel ara gedolah, and it receives a tremendous amount of light. For chosim be'erik penimios and v'ka'asher chitzonius olamos, and now you have the chitzonius which we've established by the maisim, and now you're bringing on this light through the words. He says the cholom bekabda ma'ara, they receive a lot of light. Mizdake chitzonius olamos, it refines them out. The naasa bechina penimios, and it makes the outside penimios of the what was chitzonius, it makes it into penimios because of the words that you're saying, and they're bringing down less light. So now we're going into a different set. This says Sham nizbar kavanos kol har karbanos. Now we're going to explain the kavanos of all the karbanos ad hodu. Really? Kavanos parshas Tamid ma'ala kol olamos ad roma ma'alos, and he says that's a fact that the parshas of Tamid, a very powerful weapon to cause everything to go up. Number Kuf Lamed Ches, so he said, V'achar kach, v'achar miras chai barachos berachos hashachar, ayudecha parshas carbon the Tamid, so you get to the carbon the Tamid. Ayudecha b'miras parshas the Tamid, alam alam penimius shlosh rishonas the chasil lamala. What that particular place right there causes the gar of the chabad of the Siyah to move up. Alam alam lamala la'olam yitzira. So it winds up going all the way up, goes up to the next world, which is Olam Asila, as Penimius, Shalachabad, Shal Olam Asiyah, so they go up. V'na'asa b'china chitzoni bilvad el shlosh tachtonis the Yitzira, and since now they're covering the shlosh tachtonis of the nine, that's the Yitzira, v'kasha Olam b'penimius Shalachabad the Olam Asiyah l'mala b'Yitzira, as they get there, Oz, Penimius Chabad the Olam Asiyah, so then you have the Penimius of the Chabad of Olam Asiyah. Na'asa Chitzonius Alanai the Yitzira, it becomes the Chitzonius of the Nai the Yitzira. V'zecha b'sod carbon the Tamid, v'zecha b'tam sod shal amiras parshas atamid b'kol boker kodem b'tefillah. So this is why before we get too serious into the davening, we get to the carbon the Tamid. Shehul the kar of a tachton be'elyon, because what happens in the Tamid is it brings the lower up into the upper. Ki al yedecha b'miras parshas ataman nizkar v'tachton ela elyon v'nizdakech. So the lower gets closer to the higher, and as a result of that, it becomes more refined. Ba'alosa ad sham lamala. So in order to do that, v'keven she'atachton niskarav be'elyon v'nizdakek. So it goes up to the elyon, and when it reaches the elyon, it becomes more pure. V'mele yachol atachton la'alos l'chagia ad elyon. So there you see along the way that the tachton is able to go up and reach the elyon. Fact. Nimsiki ad yedecha b'karbon tamid. So it comes out like this, that by doing the carbon tamid, Nimsa shedecha mibas carbon tamid ola penimius shalosh rishon dosiyah. It causes the penimius of the gar of Yosiyah. Ola penimius chabad shal ola masil the mala b'yitzira, and it comes with naasa kitzonius of shlosh tachtonis yitzira, and it becomes kitzonius to the nai of Yitzira. Because ola penimius chabad the chasiyah ba'olam Yitzira, and it says it out again. Oz hu naasa kitzonius of the nai the olam Yitzira. Voven she'ata menai the olam Yitzira, and it comes out like this. Now the nai of the olam Yitzira, which was the most outside part, yesh penimius anai the olam Yitzira. It makes them, that nai, into a penimius of olam Yitzira. V'olav hu kitzonius anai the olam Yitzira. So he says v'olav, and on top of it is the chitzonius of the olam yitzira. So then there's a chitzonius there, which I think used to be the chabad of olam asiyah. V'alav ku hapenimir shal chabad the olam asiyah. There it is. So now you have the outside, and now it's covered over by the penimius of the lower world. Shenaas chitzonius alanai the olam yitzira, and it makes a chitzonius the olam yitzira. So then he says like this: is a v'az. So when the penimius goes up like that, the kitzonius anai the olam yitzira, nimsa shebenai the yitzira. So it comes out like this: that the nai the yitzira yesh shlosh bechinos. It has three different bechinos. Shehem penimius anai the yitzira. Originally there was a kitzonius and a penimius. The kitzonius anai the yitzira, and then you have the penimius of the nai the yitzira, and the kitzonius anai the penimius achabad asiyah, which has come up and is covering over the kitzonius of the nai the yitzira. Shenaas kitzonius the nai the olam yitzira. Upenimius shall shlosh tachton the yitzira. So now the penimius of olam yitzira, and this is rule. This is that the penimius moves up. Became she'ein sorek shlosh bechinos benai the olam yitzira. You don't need all of this there. You don't need a chitzonius and a penimius chitzonius, and then a chitzonius at the top of the chitzonius. The ficho penimius anai the olam yitzira. So therefore it comes out that the penimius olam nai yitzira mis alagam ku yosa the mala moves up. Mis ala chitzonis hachagat the yitzira. So this moves up the hagat the yitzira to mis ala the chitzonis, to the outside of the hagat the yitzira. So you see there, this is how it moves. Minishara chitzonius and besod penimius. So there you see that remains. The penimius is the kitzonius now becomes penimius. V'alol penimius anai the yitzira the makom v'chaga the yitzira. I think I might have said that backwards. Az kitzonius anai the yitzira. So let's look at the chayim of the nai the yitzira is moved up. Naasa penimius anai the olam yitzira. Now this is where it gets a little confusing for me. Let me read it again because I don't quite understand what he said. He said, "V'nishra kitzonius besod penimius." So he said, "Uba'alos penimius anai the yitzira." So you moved up the penimius of mind the yitzira, the makom achagat the yitzira. You moved into bechagat. So then oz kitzonius anai the yitzira. Now the kitzonius and the anai the yitzira, which moved up on top. The kitzonius anai the yitzira. Naasa penimius anai the olam yitzira. Becomes the penimius of the olam yitzira because of the covering. I guess he means. The penimius shlosh rishon is the chasiyah. Now the penimius of the olam yasiyah that moved up. Naasa nechem bechitzonius. It makes them into a chitzonius because they moved up. Because naasa bechitzonius anai the yitzira. So as you're making the chitzonius of the nai the yitzira, penimius, you make it into penimius of the nai yitzira. As penimius achabad the olam asiyah. And then what happens is that the penimius of the olam achabad b'asiyah she'alo l'makom anai the olam yitzira that went up, and it covered over the nai of olam yitzira. Naasa chitzoni is the nai the olam yitzira. Now it's a chitzoni is the nai the yitzira. V'chitzoni is the nai the olam yitzira. Naasa ata b'china penimi is the nai the olam yitzira. So now because it's becoming covered over, it's now becoming a penimius. So upenimius shlosh tachtonu yitzira. So now we say let's talk about this. Now you made it. There used to be the kitzonius. Now it's covered over, so there becomes a penimius. So therefore, what happens here? Penimius shlosh tachtonu the yitzira, which is the naya yitzira. Penimius anaya the olam yitzira. He says sha'alu lamako machaga that went up to the place of the Haggad the yitzira. All v'naasa kitzoni the shlosh emseis the yitzira. It moves up to the Haggad. V'alos penimios anai the yitzira. He says the mako machagat the yitzira. Naasa penimios anai the yitzira. Kitzoni is the Haggad the yitzira. So now you're making the kitzonius of yitzira into penimios. V'kitzoni shlosh emseis the yitzira, which is the Haggad. Naasa penimios lechem. It makes them into penimios. The kemen shepenimios anai the yitzira. Naasa kitzoni is the Haggad the yitzira. The ficho kitzoni is the Haggad the yitzira. Naasa penimios the Haggad the olam yitzira. Upenimius shloshem is the Yitzira, and now these three, the Chagat of Yitzira, Olim v'na'asim kitzonius of shlosh rishonis Yitzira, and this is how it goes. It's a leapfrog pattern. And let's see if we have enough time to get down to Kuf Nun Ches, it's just the next piece. Chitzonius Hagat the Yitzira, na'asim penimius shal Chagat the Olam Yitzira, so it becomes the penimius over there. As penimius achaga the olam yitzira, it doesn't need to be there with all of these different. And the ola lamala goes upwards, but naasa kitzonius alachaba the olam yitzira. So this is how the penimius becomes the chitzonius. For chitzonius shlosh rishonas the yitzira. So now the chitzonius of the shlosh rishonas of the chaba of yitzira. Naasa bechina penimius lechem kanaz. So now it's also penimius. Because Penimius a Haggad the Yitzira, Naasa Kitzon is the Habad the Olam Yitzira, As Kitzon is the Habad the Olam Yitzira, Naasa Penimius, it becomes a Penimius then because it's covered over the Habad the Olam Yitzira. And I guess we'll stop here. That's what we could do today.